Hello, hello. This is Dr. Traci Harrell. And what I am most excited about today is that we get to show up in full integrity. Last week, we talked a lot about how we as individuals really get to decide what success looks like in our lives. What we said is that our decisions determine our destiny. So this show is called Better Together and Living Powerfully for a couple of reasons, right? Because we know it's so much better when you're working on work that will change your community. It's so much better when you do it together. And secondly, the Living Powerfully experience is what we've been talking about. It's the Living Powerfully experience with both positive intelligence and transformational inclusive leadership. And I know we've talked about transformation. I've been gracious enough to share with each of you full clarity around how you can use positive intelligence to change your life. And I've had PowerPoint slides, I've done it all. And today, instead of sharing some PowerPoint slides, I've gotten probably 12 uh, questions. And that's a lot, actually, for me. When it comes to people who typically, I don't make myself easy to find, I don't spend a lot of time on Facebook, but I've had people talk about this term transformation. Two ladies actually reached out and had the exact same question related to how do you actually decide once and for all something that you've said every year, I'm going to, for example, lose weight. I'm going to start that business. I'm actually going to be much more kind to whomever it might be, right? Like we get to decide how we show up. And so the question was, how do we actually show up differently? If the one thing we're bringing into the new year is ourselves? That's a great question. I said, well, you change yourselves. You're the transformation. Like we get to be the change that we want to see. It's literally that easy. We get to be the change we want to see. So when we talk about positive intelligence, we talk about three things. There's only three. And I can show the slides another time. But what we talk about is you get to minimize your saboteurs, those voices in your head that tell you things that really aren't true. The things where you start to feel anxiety or any energy that's not positive, those are our saboteurs. They have names. We call them out. You can go to positiveintelligence.com. Halfway down the page, there's a little orange box and it says discover your saboteurs, right? Positive intelligence is just kind of one of those things. It's one of the areas, one of those tools. I call it foundational. It's a foundational tool that we know can actually help you drive change. I know. It's so beautiful. And I get to give it away for free. So my name is Dr. Traci Harrell, and I'm the immediate past president for the National Black MBA Association. I'm also currently serving in a role that we call Vice President of Corporate and Community Affairs. And I applied for a grant as a part of a something through King County that allows me to bring this content to you right now for free. Isn't that a beauty? Isn't that a blessing? That means I get to donate my time. We're on Rainier Avenue Radio, which is has a huge broadcast. So I'm live on Mondays. They show it again on Wednesdays and Fridays and Sundays. So we get to talk about like how do we show up? How do we show up differently? So first of all, you identify your own saboteurs, those patterns, those habits, those voices. We know what they are. Those beliefs. We get to identify what they are and we get to decide that we're going to do something differently. We're gonna just choose when those voices show up, when those feelings show up. We get to decide, you know what? That's not how I want to be. That's not what I want to believe. That's not what I want to think. And so you actually get to choose differently. And yes, next time we get on I can share more slides. If someone texted me right now, and I'm like, you know what I'm talking about. I've shared this numerous times, right? There's an event that happens in your life. It could be an email, a voicemail, a person. You could be showing up right in integrity, and then all of a sudden you get triggered, right? There's some energy that happens that isn't positive. It's where you're kind of stuck a little bit. We all have those moments. So you get to say, okay, I see you. Maybe it's your controller, maybe it's your avoider, maybe it's your pleaser. I had some lady I was coaching, an executive, and she said, Tracy, sometimes I just say yes before I even have a chance to think about it. Did you hear that? Before you have a chance, your brain is taking you down a path where you automatically decide that you're going to do things, right? Align with patterns, even if they're not going to allow you or support you in achieving the goals that you want to achieve. And that's where the superpower of a powerful pause, that's where the powerful pause comes in. And so within the living powerfully experience with positive intelligence, we call that a PQ rep. PQ is for the positive intelligence quotient. And most of you already know that we've talked about positive intelligence, right? It's the neuroscience of the brain, performance science, for athletes and musicians, they all use it. It's positive psychology, and it's also cognitive behavioral psychology. So research based, we know it works. You get to pause and you get to decide that I am going to perform differently. I'm just going to pause. I'm going to take a break, right? When that trigger happens, you get to pause, breathe. It's that simple, I swear. You get to pause and breathe, and you get to decide that you're going to do something different, differently or different, whatever. But you're not gonna go down the path, and it's in the pause. The power of the pause says you get to bring the control back to your prefrontal cortex. So if there's some fight or flight, there's some energy, there's something happening, you get to pause. You get to choose differently. And what I can say is it has changed everything for me. And I'm still changing. We're all obviously a work in progress. Um, but I'm going to talk a little bit today about that. And then I'm going to move. I have multiple certifications as a transformational coach. So when I say this is what I do, this is what I do. The reason I've been talking about positive intelligence is because it's so foundational to the bigger work, right? If we're saying we get to change ourselves as individuals, heart, right? You get to change your team, people that you work with, people that are in your family, your small core team, and you also get to change your whole organization can have a more inclusive culture when you adapt these basic principles. So it's not just about, I love this so much. It's not just about self-actualization, right? Which is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I cannot wait to bring this other guest on. He actually calls it, his name is Gary Gilliam. He's a ex-football pro who now is working in community. And he actually, when I was talking to him about the work I'm doing, he said, hold on, let me show you something. And he pulls up not Maslow's hierarchy of needs. His last name is Gilliam. It's Gary Gilliam. So he pulls up what he calls Gilliam's hierarchy of needs. And above self-actualization, for those of you who don't know, you start with the basic needs like housing and shelter, right? In order to get up the ecosystem, there are things we need to do differently, right? Let me see if I can pull this up real quick. But above self-actualization, which most of us think that's the pinnacle, right? I've reached the maximum of my potential. Not true. It's just simply not true, right? What the maximum of your potential is, the next level is community actualization. So when you learn something, when you become your best and you can control how you show up in the world, that will impact your team, it'll impact your organization. Ultimately, we can change our community. I know it's exciting. Ultimately, we can actually change the world. I know it sounds like hyperbole, but it's true. It's true. I swear it's true. So that's why I'm showing up in community. We're gifting this to people. So here, this is what I'm going to share with you. This is Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which again, so beautiful. What you already know. If the bottom of that is your physiological needs, right? It's the air, the water, the food, the shelter. It's the basics. Once you have your physiological needs met, then you can get to your safety needs. That's the next level. That's your personal security. You want employment, resources, health, the basics. It's still pretty basic. Next level is the concept of love and belonging, right? We're communal beings. We want to be loved. We want to have connection, friendship, intimacy, right? It's all about connection. The next is esteem. It's your self esteem, respect, it's recognition, it's also freedom. We're talking Maslow's hierarchy of needs. At the bottom is physiological, safety, love and belonging, esteem. In Maslow's and in typical like corporate America, we talk about self actualization. Be your best, live your best life. And that is awesome. But my company is called It's All Bigger Than Me. It's All Bigger Than Me Consulting, coaching, training, and transformation because it's really not about your self actualization as an end point. That is important. You do have to pour into yourself. And that's why we started the foundation for the living powerfully experience. It is you. It is your self-actualization. That's for Maslow, that's the top. For us, that's the bottom. Right? We're assuming we're gonna work and help and support you with the love and self-love, because that's part of it too. But Maslow, the top of Maslow's hierarchy of needs is the bottom of our foundational experience. So once you've self-actualized, once you're becoming your best, we want to introduce you to this idea of community. If you want true belonging, if you want to really feel like you're showing up for others, really fulfilling your divine purpose, then it's not just about your self-actualization, it's about community actualization. Now, Gary Gilliam calls this the Bridges hierarchy of humanity. Bridges is the name of his company, and he'll be a guest in the future. But I just wanted to bring this up because I just think it's so powerful that, when you meet people that are aligned, it's important to say, oh, yeah, that's true. If you're thinking about this for yourself. So, self actualization is the desire to be the best one can be. That's the top of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. But above that is community, the desire to help others to be the best they can be. That's my why, right? I want to be my best, but I also want to leave a legacy that will helping others to be their best as well. And then guess what? Once you help those people in your community, the next layer is generational actualization, ensuring that future generations have longevity and that they have the tools that they need to also start out of the gate living their best lives. They're self actualized, they're focused on community, and they too are focused on the next generation. That's what's exciting about this. So if you're like, what's so different about all this better together and living powerfully? This is it. That was probably one of the best visuals that I had, and we'll share it in a future session. So what I love most about this work is it's practical. So we don't just stay in the hypothetical, strategic conversations around what does success look like, right? I want to give you that information, but I also want to make sure you're aware, how do you show up your best? How do you show up living your best life? So we're going to talk about that right now. I love this. I love it so much. So when people ask me, so how exactly do I change my life? How exactly can I live out my full purpose? I've said it before. I haven't done it. I've talked about losing weight or starting that business. I haven't really made a whole lot of progress. Why is that? You might ask. A couple of reasons. One of them is just this idea of our limiting beliefs, right? These saboteurs, they're similar to the limit. That's where our limiting beliefs are lies that we tell ourselves. That's why many of us, go through life not truly living out all that you can be. The beautiful part of positive intelligence is that it talks about us as individuals creating a space where we get to truly show up thriving differently, transformed, transformed. So I can talk about positive intelligence, but I also want to talk about one of my other little coaching, training certifications. It's through David Baer. Right? He calls us transformational facilitators because what we're doing is we're facilitating your transformation, but you're the one transforming, right? So the best I can do is take you on a journey, help you to see your limiting beliefs, walk you through proven processes. That's what I'm doing now. So it's not one thing, it's a series of things, right? I'm also a certified success coach with Success Magazine, which is the oldest um, empowerment magazine in the country. And so I started there, right? And so what we know about basic as it relates to transformation is that it is everything. Like it's about success. When you think about success, there's like a success wheel of life. It's not just success in your business, although we all clearly want to be successful in our businesses, right? It's success in your relationships, right? It's success in all areas of your life. So we have this little success wheel. Again, we talked about this before. I think I've even brought it up before. So if you're like, hey, I want to be successful in all areas, everything I talk about can be applied to anything that you say you want to achieve. That's what this is all about. So stay with me. So when those ladies and gentlemen reached out and asked me questions about how do I really change, that means I don't know if they've done the saboteur assessment, but you go to positiveintelligence.com. And again, that's where you can do a little saboteur assessment. You get to acknowledge the voices, acknowledge kind of the past history and how it's showing up for you today. That's number one. Secondly, we want to make sure that we are actually showing up for you by providing you with the superpowers that we call our sage superpowers. And that starts with the sage, again, the sage perspective, which says that you can believe that every situation can be turned into a gift or an opportunity. Now, when I talk about transformation, this is what I love. Most of you may not get this, but some people say transformation is going to take decades. Like I've been having this mindset for decades. It actually doesn't. Transformation happens in the moment. It's in that exact moment where you realize whatever you were thinking to yourself, whatever you were saying to yourself, whatever you were about to do, when you pause and when you breathe and when you decide, you go back to your beliefs. So before the situation happens, you've already laid out some new beliefs. And so when you're back in a situation that seems familiar where you would go off track, that's when you get to choose differently. That's when you get to pause, you get to breathe, and it's in that moment of transformation. That's where your decisions determine your destiny. When people say that, that's what they mean, right? It's not like, you decided once, back 3 months ago. It's about what did you choose today for lunch? You can't go back in the past. So what are you going to choose today for dinner, right? If you have the option to go and have dessert every meal, probably not going to align with your ultimate goal, which you said was to lose weight. If you say you want to start a business and you haven't done any research or done anything and you haven't laid out a plan, right? It's about the actions that you take, the decisions that you make. That is what determines your destiny. Thank you for the love. I appreciate it. So, if you can believe that your transformation is possible, if you can believe that your transformation can happen right now, it's in the believing that makes it possible. I know it's crazy. All you have to start by believing that I can truly transform. You have to believe that this is actually possible for me. I can actually do things differently. I can be different. So we talked about the positive intelligence, again, going to the website, checking out these various states of being, and that is so important, right? When you know your saboteurs, positiveintelligence.com, little quiz that says discover your saboteurs. It literally takes 4 minutes, literally. So if you do that, what you're going to discover is that there are times when it's in the moment, people. Let me be clear. It is not later. You can't be like, okay, I see my problem, but I'm not gonna do anything about it. You're never going to you're never going to actually create the change that you want. It's in the moment that you say, oh, yes, I've decided, right? You do some workout in advance, and then it's in the moment that you pause, you breathe, right? That's how you bring the control back to your prefrontal cortex, right? You decide this is what I'm going to do differently in this moment. And it's those individual choices that you're making moment by moment. That's how you get to decide, am I in a powerful state or am I in a primal state? We talked about the left side of the brain, which is the survival side of the brain. That's when you're in your primal state, right? That's aligned with these negative emotions, the saboteurs. So you can, there's all kind of language. None of this is new. I can give you 5 different certifications worth of application. It just depends on what do you need, what's going to make most sense to you. And if I say whenever you're in a negative mood, whenever you feel some kind of way that is not positive, that is when you get to choose different. That's when you get to pause and breathe and decide, oh, I'm in a primal state, and know that it is in your ability to immediately shift to a powerful state. That's why this is called the living powerfully experience, because you literally get to decide, I'm going to choose powerfully. And today we can talk about the five. We talked about the 5 superpowers right before, so I'm gonna give you some new stuff today. So I'm not gonna go there, but you know what they are, right? And the order of them have kind of can morph, right? The 5 superpowers include the idea of empathy. I'm gonna empathize with myself and others, right? Sometimes you want to navigate, pause, and just kind of think about, like, how do I want to show up? Like I've already said that it's important to me to make sure people around me have a good experience. That means I'm not going to actually say, it doesn't really matter what they think. That's not how I want to show up right now. You actually do want to show up for other people in the moment. It's in the moment that matters. All the other stuff is just shenanigans, right? If you say you want to lose weight, but you eat the cookie, you eat the pies every day, at some point you got to say, I'm not going to do that, right? I'm going to choose differently in this moment. If it was AA, it's like one step at a time. I'm going to not drink that drink today. Okay, right? If it's something sweet, if it's accomplishing a goal, I'm going to do one thing each day. That's all you have to do. And so in this moment, right, the choice would be, I'm not going to have that treat. You still need to have treats every day. Every day is not Christmas, right? Someone used to say that to me. It would make me so mad. Every day is not Christmas. Until you're serious, until you're really ready, I have to be honest. If you're not truly ready to change, you should turn this channel. Because once you're woke, you can't be unwoke. Like, we're dropping the knowledge. And if you truly want to change, all you got to do is listen and act different and choose different. But if you're like, you know what, I'm actually kind of happy with this extra weight. I'm kind of happy not living the life I want. I'm kind of okay living a mediocre life and not really feeling like I'm I'm living out my true purpose. If you're okay with that, this is not the show for you. And that's okay. This show is about living powerfully, having a living powerfully experience. And it's also about knowing that we get to contribute to the lives of others. Okay, this is not for everyone. It's not for everyone. But if it's for you, if you know that you truly want to change, then stay with me. So again, this concept of a powerful state versus a powerful state, if there's only two states of being, you're either one or the other, right? So if you're in a powerful state of being, that's when you're most creative. That's when you're like, you're using those superpowers, the empathy, the innovate, the navigate. That's looking forward to say, what do I really want? Then you get to truly, truly innovate, to create new ideas before you activate. That's taking the action. But those are the five superpowers, right? And they apply to you as an individual. They apply to you as a team. They even apply to you creating a corporate culture of true power, of true inclusion. It's all the things. Like, it applies to all of it. So again, if you have two states of being, powerful versus your primal, it's just about acknowledging when it happens in the moment. You don't have to meditate in a negative space. You don't. You do not have to. As a matter of fact, it's like a 1 second rule. The 1 second rule. As soon as you feel negative energy, as soon as you feel anxiety, as soon as you start feeling uncomfortable, anything negative, that's when you pause. breathe 3 times, touch, you can squeeze your toes on the carpet, you can touch a cup, you can squeeze your phone. Like it's something physical and it's the breathing. That's how you literally pause, you intercept the saboteurs. You don't have to go down that path. It's so simple. That's step one. You have to intercept the negative, intercept the path that you would have gone, and you just do it by breathing. We call it the a power. They call it they call it a PQ rep. I call it a PQ power prayer because I often bring in the the scientific and the spiritual. I need some divine intervention more so than not. So, but I've actually lost 30 pounds, 33 pounds, actually. Uh, Doing this work, just deciding that I'm going to show up differently. So when I eat something, even if I'm eating sweet potato pie, which I did over the holidays, for example, I ate it so slow. I'm not saying you can't have it, but you better enjoy it fully. Be present in the moment. How many times do we eat something and you're like, what just happened? No, 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 no. If you're gonna eat, eat and enjoy it. If you're gonna help someone, that's one of the things you want to do is you want to help others. If you decided you want to help yourself and start a business, you just want to get that promotion, right? If you're a professional and you're like, I want to get to the next level, you can. You simply have to pour into yourself first and decide. Decide. Decisions determine our destiny. And it's not just the one decision, it's along the way, right? So being very clear about where you are and what you're feeling in the moment is step one, right? Deciding, am I in a primal state or am I in a powerful state? Meaning, is it the left side of my brain, my survival side of my brain, working right now, or is it my thrival side or my powerful side? So, what I love about this is this is from my little ticket, sharing some notes. So, one of the things that we know is in order to achieve your long term goals, you have to have a vision, and you want to use that vision. Some of my friends were doing vision boards earlier today. I couldn't join them, but I have my own vision board and I have visions up here. But it's good to have them around and posted as well. So when you want to accomplish a goal, right, you want to have a living powerfully experience. You do have to be very clear. What's the end goal? It's like start with the end in mind, right? So if you believe that your brain was a goal achieving machine, if you could actually believe that and know that it is, it's more powerful than any computer. I'm actually going to be doing some free training on AI, artificial intelligence, which is so awesome. We're going to be doing that through the National Black MBA Association. I'm doing it with a couple of the other leaders for the organization. So I'm excited. That's coming. That's coming. But you're the most powerful computer that you will ever on the face of this earth. Your brain is. It's more powerful than any supercomputer ever created, ever even thought of. So now this is about how do you truly leverage your superpowers? Again, super simple, three things. It's about self-management, minimizing your saboteurs, increasing your stage superpowers, and truly managing what we call self-command. It's in that moment. It's the pauses. It's those decisions that we get to make. And so to start, you want to make sure you have very clear vision, very clear understanding of what do you want to create in your life? What do you want that to look like? I have a picture of myself. I think I was like 167 or something. And so it was tight, I'll say. There's no excess rolls. And so that's a vision that I need to enlarge and put right here on my wall so I see it on a regular basis. So when you have a clear vision of what you want to accomplish, your brain is like, okay, I see what you want. And what I love about this is sometimes we have these really soft visions, these soft ideas of what we want, but we really don't want to do the thing that we said we want to do. I've talked about losing weight for years. I've talked about it, but I haven't. I haven't done the work. I've not been very consistent. Now what I decided is now is the time. I'm beyond serious. These are one of my two things, one of my top two things. Wellness and wealth, right? I spent decades donating my time to others. Part of this also needs to be about how do we show up? How do we show up truly creating the life of our dreams? If it was imaginary, you wouldn't have so many people who've actually done it. So my life is one of those where I can say, without a shadow of a doubt, I'm not just talking about it, I'm going to be about it, right? So this is one of my things is wealth, and the other one is health. Health and wealth. They're also quite connected. So you have to be so sure about that one thing, right? Whatever it is, so sure that it becomes a priority for you, that you don't allow yourself to slip into those almost unawake moments, like where we just show up and go through a day and you're like, oh, I wasn't very intentional today at all. So when you start your day, you're starting your day with intention. You're visualizing that thing that you want that's different than what you've been getting. It has to be very intentional, right? I'm showing up differently. I'm going to show up and I am going to do this thing, right? So I had to decide I'm going to drink water. I got all these supplements. Like, like this is important. I understand what important looks like. So for me, for you, I've asked each of you earlier in the year, and each time we get together, I say, hey, what is the one thing you want to accomplish? Say it. Say it out loud. What is the thing that you want to accomplish? What is that one thing? And once you decide what that thing is, then you show up with intention. Again, that saboteur assessment that we offer through positive intelligence is totally free. There's also a PQ or positive intelligence number. We don't even start with the number because the numbers are almost irrelevant. We want you to get immediate results, and that is seeing where you get off track, seeing where you fall asleep, seeing where you're actually not being intentional. That's when you get to see those saboteurs in a different light. You're like, okay, I see you. You get to laugh and say, okay, I see you. I'm not going to do that anymore, right? I'm going to show up differently. So if you think about it, there's oftentimes this conflict between what we say we want and what we actually want, what we're really willing to show up for. We call that this inner conflict. So once you decide that you know what, my decisions determine my destiny, and this is what I'm going to do differently, then you're in a position where you don't have to sleep through life. You're in a position where you get to truly thrive in such a way that you can't go back. Once you've decided that this is how I'm going to show up, this is what I'm going to do differently, then you actually get to show up in a way that your life will never be the same. Now, I was coaching someone last week, and the conversation was about we talked about the 5 primary drivers. This is like with humans, right? So if the one thing that is the root of all issues, it's our beliefs, right? So our beliefs dictate our destiny. So it's based on what we believe that actually creates the thoughts that come into our mind. The thoughts. If I believe that my body is a divine temple, then I'm going to think, this water would be perfect for my divine temple. I'm going to think that. I'm going to get kind of excited, right? When thoughts lead to your emotions. So let me talk about the 5 primary drivers. Your beliefs, which is the root, is the one you want to really work on. When we talk about working on the beliefs, that's because we start identifying the limiting beliefs, and then we're going to flip them so they become your more powerful beliefs. So beliefs dictate your thoughts lead to your emotions lead to your actions or inactions, and it's your actions that lead to your results. So oftentimes coaches will talk to you about what you think. That's nice. It is nice, but it is not the root. It is not the root of the problem. So we go to the root. We go to the because it doesn't make sense, right? You could have someone practice some thoughts and say some things, but if their beliefs have not been, we start at the bottom. So then you're done. The hard work is done. So if we start and we look at your beliefs, your limiting beliefs, the things that might be holding you back, we flip them for you. We help you to create new powerful beliefs. Hello. Now, the reason I'm connecting these 2 different modalities, actually 3 different modalities, my certified success coaching, my certification through the David Bayer community. I'm a transformational facilitator. This work around positive intelligence as well. I'm also a transformational coach with the Masterminds Institute. So I say all this to say I'm combining them all because they're all the same thing, right? It's all the same concept. But the more you see them together, the more powerful they are. So if someone told you that what you believe will change everything, if we just focus on what you believe, then these other things are like trickle down effects. Okay. So if what you believe changes, if your beliefs dictate your destiny, then we want to focus on your beliefs. We want to actually create a space where you're looking at those limiting beliefs. So those saboteurs that showed up, the ones that we got a little quiz I was telling you about, they've poured untrue beliefs into you for a while. That's kind of the only reason that we spend quality time early in the process saying, what are your saboteurs? Most people see them and they're like, yeah, I guess. Yeah, I can see. It's true. It's impossible for some of it not to be true. If you answer the little assessment questions correctly, then some of it has to be true, right? So what you get to do is you get to actually think a little bit differently about yourself. You get to decide that those things are not true. Those limiting beliefs aren't true. The saboteurs, what they say aren't true. It's just not true. That's what has been derailing you. So if you can identify your limiting beliefs, if you can identify these saboteurs and say, you give them the hand when they show up. That's why you want to just see, you want to recognize them. You want to give them a name and they're all cute little names and there's cute characters for them. You want to see them and be like, you don't have to think about it. It doesn't require all, 30 years of therapy, although I love therapy. I'm in therapy. It's all good. We love therapists, so this is not a problem. But what I'm saying is, in order to actually have a change in your life, to truly live, you don't have to identify which of your saboteurs is speaking, although it's good to know, but it's not required. All you need to know is something negative is happening to me right now. I may not be able to name it at the moment. I'm gonna do some work on that. But when the negative feelings show up, you say, and you say something positive to shift your mind. That goal achieving mind is going to believe whatever you tell it. So if you let your saboteurs say, Traci, you're over 50, you need to lose over 100 pounds, it's not going to happen. So just go ahead and enjoy your sweet potato pie, right? It's not going to happen. If you're like telling yourself, hey, you've been talking about starting that business for decades, you haven't done it now, you're never going to do it. Those are the negative limiting beliefs. Those are the voices in our heads that aren't true. They're just not true. So you get to stop them and say, nope. And then you get to breathe and you get to decide and say out loud something differently. And whenever I do that, I'm like, oh my God. And then there's a celebration. Because you want it, you're actually you're creating new neural pathways. Literally, you're creating new neural pathways. So if you wake up and you start your day with your new beliefs, right? You decide this is how I'm going to show up today. These are my intentions. This is my vision for the day. These are the three things that I'm going to accomplish. This is how you show up. I'm giving you the rule book. I'm giving you the answer. Show up in joy. Decide. Show up for yourself. It's these little routines, and I've never really had routines to be honest. People who went to school with me, it's so true. Like I never studied, but I used to get straight A's, right? I never studied. I didn't have. I went to class. I never missed a class, but I didn't like go and get the books or anything. There was one course that I actually needed to study in, and I was had a rude awakening. I was like, oh, this isn't like my other stuff. I actually have to practice calculus, and some formulas, and some new stuff. So that was probably the one thing that I actually had to study for, and it took me a minute to get my act together. So I say that to say having a routine is new to me too. So when I say I'm losing this weight, it's because I've established some new routines. Your decisions determine your destiny. So when you look at someone who's successful, who have what you want, I talk about fit Traci. That's me. If you didn't know, I'm fit Traci. I'm 100 pounds overweight, but I'm already talking to myself like fit Traci because fit Traci loves drinking water. She loves vegetables, right? Fit Traci is all about helping others, and I'm actually going to focus on my business as well. I can help people. I've helped people for free. Okay, I will do a little bit of that, but I'm doing more of it, and that's why you guys better soak this up because I'm showing up on Rainier Avenue Radio, right? Putting free content and community that I know is hugely valuable. The way I help you as a coach, and you can reach out to me as Traci at itsallbiggerthanme.com. Where I help you is I actually work with you about your beliefs. I help you to see your new routines. We create them together, right? We have all the tools. We have all the metrics for you and for your team, for your whole organization. That's kind of what we do. So once you identify these limiting beliefs, once you decide that they're not true, and once you create your new beliefs, your new empowering beliefs, then that means when the trigger happens, when those little voices come up, you stop. You say the new powerful belief, and now you would have said it earlier in the day, but it's in the moment that matters. It's in that moment where you're being triggered and something old habits are about to show up, and you're like, "Oops, I'm gonna pause and I'm gonna breathe." I swear it's just that easy. It is. If you've already done this work around beliefs, if you've already established new beliefs, if you've already done your saboteur assessment, then in the moment it's so much easier because now you're just saying, "Oh, I see you," right? But I'm not going to go down that path. Instead, I'm going to do this other thing, right? I'm going to choose to believe this other thing. I'm going to choose to believe that my body really is a divine temple. I'm going to choose to believe in this moment, right? That I truly do deserve whatever this new business is, whatever this thing is that you say you want to. I deserve that promotion, and I'm going to show up powerfully in my organization. I'm going to do whatever I haven't been able to do in the past. That's what this is about. It's so exciting. So once you identify your new beliefs, you're going to actually work through the five primary drivers. We already talked about those, right? Your beliefs, roots, roots. That's the roots of the tree. Your beliefs dictate your thoughts. Your thoughts lead to your emotions, your feelings. Your feelings is really what triggers your actions or your inactions. And it's those actions that we know lead to the results. So once again, it's the beliefs that you want to focus on. That's why that vision is so important. That's why those affirmations are important. So if there's any area in your life where you really haven't actually shown up for yourself, then just know that that's why. That's why. So the shift is really that you get to identify a new belief. You get to truly shift. You can do some work around the details of it, but we're going to keep moving. So I'm going to I'm going to move through this because I want to make sure I get you everything that you need. Now, as the brain is a storyteller, so the reason I add that in because if you believe what we sometimes tell ourselves about a situation, we call that the story. I think about 10 years ago, I was coached by someone, her name is Kim Smith, and she used to talk about the story that we tell ourselves. And so this idea of the story that we tell ourselves, different than the actual circumstance that just happened, that's also one of those limiting beliefs. That's also what kind of deters us and takes us down a path that isn't necessary. So when that's happening, pause, breathe, 3 slow, deep breaths, and say something different. Decide differently. That's what you get to do. You get to decide differently. You get to really focus on, okay, what just really happened, right? So when you think about those 5 superpowers I was telling you about, the idea that you get to empathize with yourself, others, the situation, you get to kind of think about, okay, navigate. Okay, so actually, this is what I hope to be. These are my values. So then, as you're innovating, as you're creating, as you're exploring, maybe asking questions about that particular situation, the questions you're asking are really about what really happened. What was the true experience? Not the story I'm telling myself about it, but what really happened. Sometimes people get on your nerves because you've like implied something that they did that they didn't have any intention of. And then you're like, I don't care about your intentions. You should, because you're the one who's telling that story. This person did a thing. And in their mind, if you ask, hey, with no judgment, because again, we know the judge is saboteur number one. If you ask that person, hey, we had a little situation. I may have been feeling some kind of way about that. It kind of, but I really just want to explore without judgment. What were you thinking at the time? Give people a chance. You know how easy it is to just explore, ask questions without judgment. If you've already decided the guilty is guilty before they even get on trial, right? You're pissed off at somebody you don't even know. I don't care what their emotions, their intentions are, right? We've seen people like act up. That's it. Then who's a lack of integrity at that point? Because if you know better, if you know, which happened to me recently as well, so we're all working on the process. Like we know better, then we got to do better in the moment. Not later after lives have been impacted, but in the moment. That's when you get to do better, right? You get to choose to do better. If you're in integrity, then you get to choose to do better. So I'm actually got kind of a little edgy with someone who said something to me um, that was something that they used to do. And I realized in this person's mind, if I just ask the question, most times you're going to find that most people, I believe, have good intent. And then you're able to get to a better outcome. You're not upset. You're working your relationship with that person is better because you've given them a chance to actually explain maybe what was different about their perspective than yours. I assume the best. I assume that everybody's working for my good, even if you're not. And I know some people are not. Some people hate the fact that I show up and do this stuff for free. They're like, Traci is getting all the money. Traci ain't got $0. just so we're clear. I'm just saying. Zero. I show up in community and do this as a bonus for free. For free. I've gotten $0 for any of my shows, any of this work. When I say we're offering a scholarship for the basic work, it's $1,000. It's actually $3,500 when you start going into the corporate work, which we're going to be offering that here in April. So we have packages that are being built. I've gotten $0, right? But that's just because I want to show up, and I want to show up in community, creating a space for you all. Now I won't be doing this forever, so take note. The videos will be here and available. But I want to make sure you're clear that you're suffering a lot of the time. Your suffering is based on the story that you're telling about the experience and not the experience itself. So then you get to go and use those tools. It's not just telling you a fact, I'm telling you how to fix it. In the moment, you get to explore and ask questions without judgment. I know it sounds simple because it is. You get to ask questions and then you get to innovate and you get to say, okay, hold on. Traci said that, hold on. She said something about this. What do we call it? It's called the sage perspective. So we know that every situation can be turned into a gift or an opportunity. Now, if that's true, if that is truly the fact, then what might the gifts be? So then you start to innovate, right? It's the gift of knowledge, the gift of power, the gift of a new perspective, the gift of new information. There's all kind of things that are going to come out of any situation. So if something bad has happened, something looks bad, ask questions of anyone who might be involved without judgment. Look and see what gift might come out of whatever situation it is. You get to decide. So again, that's kind of like there's a story that's being told, but at the end of the day, is it really? Is it really? Is it really a problem? Or are you the problem? I'm just saying, we are often the problem. We've decided. We've decided some outcome that isn't true. We've decided some story about an experience that may or may not be the true experience. So if you think about the story versus what actually happened, that's how you get to what actually happened. Is you pause, you ask questions, you start with empathy, you explore, you navigate to your own values, right? Then you explore, you get to innovate, you get to navigate, and you get to then activate. You get to then decide. So when you talk about our beliefs, that our beliefs are our decisions, this is the most powerful distinction of all. If you decide that your beliefs, we already said were the root cause, right? The 5 primary drivers of human behavior, cognitive behavioral psychology. Number 1 is the roots, the beliefs. So if our beliefs determine our destiny, our beliefs determine our decisions. Our beliefs are decisions. That means you get to believe differently. You just get to decide something new. You get to say, okay, you know what? I used to believe, this is my story. I think I've said this before. I used to believe that I should be able to eat whatever I want whenever I want, and that's my definition of success. Because I used to have to eat food I didn't like. So my definition of success was to eat whatever I want whenever I want. You better choose. That's a pathway to gaining weight. Eat whatever you want whenever you want. Really? How is that serving me? It's not. So now I have a new belief. My new belief is that my body is a divine living temple. I need to treat it as such in order for me to show up and to deliver what God has me to do on this earth. People may not like it. It's okay. But I'm going to show up. The only one I really care about is that one up there. And I'm bringing in science, and there's a spiritual aspect as well. But this is scientifically proven. You don't have to believe me. You don't have to believe in a higher power. All you got to do is believe in neuroscience. positive psychology, performance science. Like it's all proven, right? So what I'm telling you is you get to believe something different. You get to choose something different. You get to show up differently, and it's in the moment. It's in those decisions that you make moment by moment. Y'all, this was hot. I'm just saying. This is everything. I'm just blending some stuff together here because I worked up a sweat. So thank you for the comments. I love it. People are texting me too. So listen. So if you can believe your beliefs or decisions, that means what you are experiencing is truly a transformation, right? If what you used to believe is that you are not going to be successful, someone told you that, and now what you've decided is, if you can believe, if you align your beliefs with your decisions, you're cooking with gas. Okay, now you're like, okay, it's hot, and I'm getting even hotter. So your beliefs. Okay, so I believe that I'm going to be successful in my business. I believe that people will absolutely pay for the amazing services that I provide. Of course they will. The right people, because I don't need it's not for everyone. It's only for the people who truly want to find change in their lives, in their teams, in the organization. So I only want to work with people that are truly serious. So if your beliefs align with your decisions, I've decided that I will be successful. I've decided that I can overcome any challenge ahead of me, right? And I will. I believe it, and I've decided that that is true. So in the moment, let's go. There's no question because I'm gonna do exactly what I said, right? Not only am I good enough, I am amazing. Because sometimes people, we believe things that aren't true about ourselves, that we're not enough. You are more than enough. We need you to say the words out loud, right? That's how you start your day. That's how you move through your day. It's your beliefs and your decisions. It's those two things that are actually how you transform your life. I'm actually going to stop there because I know we're running out of time and I want to just do a quick recap so that everybody is clear. Your beliefs and your decisions determine your destiny. Hello? Let me say it again. It's what you believe. It's the decisions that you make in the moment, not later coming back to it later. It's in the moment. You start your day with intention. These are the cliff notes. If you start your day with intention, that is part of living the living powerful experience. If you start your day with clear intentions on what your vision is for your life, on what your new belief, your new powerful beliefs are, not the ones that your saboteurs used to tell you, not the limiting beliefs, but you get to decide new beliefs. You decide them. So beliefs are decisions. Beliefs are also how you get to the root cause of what we call the 5 elements of human cognitive behavior, right? Your beliefs lead to your thoughts lead to your emotions. It's your emotions that lead to your actions or your inactions, and it's those actions that lead to the results that you want in your life. So it is about going to these are automatic. Most of these are automatic. So once you get to the beliefs and you're very intentional about changing your beliefs and your thoughts, your emotions, your actions, and your results will change. They will automatically create the life that you want. I know I made it sound simple because it actually is. So what I'm going to do is we're going to continue to show up for you right here on Rainier Avenue Radio. In addition, we're actually going to have a launch on 4/24/24. That's April 24th. We're bringing this into the corporate space. That's why I decided to broadcast live today on LinkedIn, because corporate partners, this is for you. When I worked at Microsoft, I had people talking about the change they wanted to make inside of the company. And many of the leaders said, you know what, it would be great if we had something that was a little deeper. I had people, I was doing some work and they would say, you should do this for a living. I'm like, I know. I kind of liked having my check show up every other week. Who doesn't? Now I'm saying, hey, guess what? I am here. I am ready to rock and roll. And I say, let's do the work. Let's show up in excellence. Let's show up in a way that will allow each of you to live out the life of your dreams. When I say you can show up living powerfully, that means you can live your best, your most successful, your most powerful year yet. You can have your most powerful life yet because of the decisions that you make. Y'all, I dropped some nuggets. Come on now, you know it's true. Go to positiveintelligence.com as one of your steps. You're going to go to the middle of the page. You're going to do your saboteur assessment. It's going to help you identify your saboteurs so that when you focus on your stage superpowers, right? Empathy, innovate, navigate. That's it. Cultivate. No, it's not. It's activate. Sorry. It's explore. It's empathy, explore, innovate, navigate, and activate. Sorry. I don't know. I amuse myself sometimes. Those are the 5 superpowers. All right. So we're going to continue to do this work. We're going to show up for you. If you can believe that your powers are within right here in your brain, then join us next week as we focus on your decisions determine your destiny. We're going to focus on those superpowers. We're going to create a space for you to really show up in a more powerful way so that this year will absolutely be the year where you achieve those dreams that you've talked about but haven't necessarily completed. This is going to be your best year. This is absolutely going to be my best year. I'm going to take you on this journey with us. Now, I think I can share a little bit about what's going on right in studio. We still have the Call to Conscious Museum happening. Am I right? Let's see. I think we do. Right? Yes, the Call to Conscious Museum is currently open Tuesdays through Sundays for the month of February. There should be a Call to Conscious. Um, so all you have to do is go to, oh, he's putting the information right here. Go to calltoconscious.world. There you go, y'all. So it's beautiful. But we want to talk about the ability to show up in excellence, and that's how you do it. You show up in excellence by showing up for yourself. And remember, we get to create the life of our dreams. Do you guys remember how I started the show? I started talking about how the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which ends with the self-actualization, that's where our work begins. When you think you're at your best, that's the people that I'm working with. You think you're at your best, but you don't feel fulfilled. You're not necessarily living out your dreams. You're not necessarily showing up in all the ways that you know you could. That's where we get to help. Then you're focusing on true self-actualization. You're focusing on self-empowerment. So you're focusing on community empowerment, actualization, as well as you're doing work for the next generation. That is what today was all about, helping you to see there's more for you, there's more for us, there's more. And at the end of the day, y'all, if you believe that you're put on this earth for a reason and you're not walking in that every day, let's change that in 2024. Let's change that in 2024. Let's create a life of your dreams right here, right now. I'm here for you. We got this. Better together and living powerfully. This is for you. It's for us. We can be the change we want to see. I know it sounds so like cliche. It's cliche because it's true. All right, y'all, that's my time. Next up is Lid Line Sports. I believe that is next. I think my producer is going to show up and he is going to bring on Lid Line, baby. I am grateful for each of you. Thank you so much. This is Traci Harrell, Bigger Than Me and Living Powerfully. Thank you.